Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We've got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been
Hey guys, what's going on? Jab here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto, guys. Today we are running 5 hours late, but it was scheduled yesterday. If you saw over on Twitter, which, hey, Twitter, look, it's the place to be right now. If you're not on Twitter, you need to be. Make sure to go and follow us. Those links are down below. I posted that today's stream would be taking place at 3 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. at the normal, regularly scheduled time, because we actually found out last night that my wife had a cardiologist appointment that was scheduled like 18 months ago. And just give you a little bit of a background on what happened there. My wife has been struggling with a lot of chest pain up here over the last 3 years. And a lot of doctors have told her, oh, it's nothing, oh, it's nothing, oh, it's nothing. But it's never sat right with us that every time a resting heart rate is taken, it's 104 beats per minute or higher. So finally, we got to meet a cardiologist today, and he said, yeah, that doesn't seem right. I want to know why that's happening. So we have some more tests scheduled for Friday. Be praying for us. We've already got a lot of difficulty right now with what's going on with the company, and also having to do with just the fact that my wife gets hit by pregnancy really hard. But nevertheless, we got a what would it be, an echocardiogram coming up on Friday, and then a follow-up here in February. So hopefully everything's fine. We think that everything's okay. It doesn't seem like if there is anything wrong, it's anything that bad. But that's why today's stream was a little bit late. Everything's fine. It was a visit. It wasn't like there was an emergency room. There was nothing like that. We were okay. So that's why we're here late. Going to be back 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm hoping to be back in the office tomorrow, guys. I woke up and I literally was trying to get out of bed, and I fell out of bed. I'm dead serious. I got out of bed, rolled out of bed, and I straight up fell on the ground. And I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen tomorrow morning, and that I'm going to be feeling a little bit better. But nevertheless, we have a lot to talk about today. And if you don't know what's going on in crypto, then you kind of need to know what's going on in crypto, because there are several major stories going on right now having to do with Russia and Ukraine, and now Poland. If you haven't heard of that story, you need to. Some pretty big, luckily it was avoided, but potentially a large escalation into an Article 5 almost happened yesterday, which just shows you how close we are to the brink of something crazy happening in Eastern Europe. We also got FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. Apparently, he and his then girlfriend Caroline Ellison, apparently somebody's going to leak a certain type of video, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We'll try and keep it family friendly on Friday, which obviously I'm not going to go there, but if that happens, then I will let you guys know about it. Don't think that we're going to show anything on this channel, but if that happens, it would obviously be a piece of news, but at least something like that. But anyway, there is an allegation that a certain video is going to drop involving those two individuals, and this is awkward. Can you tell? It's pretty awkward, but nevertheless, that is a piece of news right now, so we got to talk about it. But also, otherwise in the news, BlockFi, which is a company that I have personally done business with before. They sponsored our channel one time, a long time ago, for like one video. We didn't like the way they were doing business. They owed us money for the sponsorship, and they never paid us, so we never did business with them again. BlockFi, because they were owed $225 million from FTX. Right now, they are looking in an unused credit line. It's looking like BlockFi may actually be going insolvent, which means that they could be filing for bankruptcy again relatively, as well as FTX relatively soon. We're going to touch on that. And unfortunately, I actually had some money on BlockFi. I never had money on Voyager, on Celsius. I never owned Luna. I never had any money or any affiliation with FTX. I barely had any dealings with BlockFi. Never had any affiliation with any of these different companies. But I did have 0.17 Bitcoin on BlockFi because I was trying out their lending feature like a year ago. And I forgot about it because it's not a big portion of our portfolio, but it's like $3,000. I got like $3,000 on there that I want back. So I can feel your pain now. We got $3,000 over there on BlockFi, and they paused withdrawals just the same way FTX did last Monday. So we're going to talk about all of that and more. But the thing that I am most excited to talk about today is the fact that, drumroll please, this channel just turned 5 years old today, and I am so excited. I don't expect this to be one of the biggest streams we've ever had, but I do expect it to be one of my favorites because I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of my journey here on YouTube. We're going to talk a lot about the news right now and the technicals, but I also want to touch on the personal side and share with you guys what has happened in the last 5 years that I've been here on Cryptocurrency YouTube. Almost 2,400 videos later and still chugging right along. Really excited for today's stream. Let's go ahead and read some super chats here. Marlon Pillay said, hi. Hello. Welcome, my friend. Damian Biercy said, hello. Hi there. Silent said, this feels weird. Is my clock wrong? Shakes clock. No, it's not wrong, but we do have our coffee. By the way, if you are not a subscriber to the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel, then you might not know, but it is a tradition here that every time we go live at Coffee and Crypto, we have a cup of coffee together. So if you don't have a cup of coffee, I know it's 3:05 p.m. Go grab yourself one anyway because you don't like sleep just like me. And 1, 2, 3, boom, cheers. It's good stuff. I love coffee. I was walking in here with my cup of coffee. My wife's like, Jeb, isn't that your third cup of coffee today? And I said, yeah, it is. What's wrong? I just don't want to sleep. And she said, are you sure that's a good idea? We just went to the cardiologist. And I said, I know if something goes wrong, then I know someone to go to. So I should be in good hands. I have my wife and the cardiologist that actually took my wife seriously. Thank you to him. I forgot his name, but thank you to Karinsky, I think was his name. Thank you to that guy for actually taking her seriously. None of the other doctors would. Mike Lowry in chat. Smash the likes for hashtag FinSov and CryptoJeb2. Thank you. The classic IT guy said, good afternoon. When people said good afternoon. When people said, happy hashtag crypto birthday. Mike Lowry again in chat. Just Ray. Hello, Just Ray. Haven't seen you in a while. Ominous, the black screen. Gotta say, it is ominous. I know. I need to get that fixed. We're probably going to be getting an editor on staff in the next month or so. Some of you guys have turned in resumes, so it's probably going to end up being one of our subscribers. Don't know who. Don't know when. Don't actually know if. We need to take a look at some things and wrap some final things out. But nevertheless, it is possible. It's stuff like this that makes me a Bitcoin maxi. It's stuff like this that keeps me having at least half of our valuation in cryptocurrency in Bitcoin. Totally. The classic IT guy in chat. Silent. Gemini is going to be a new one too. Gemini's in the news. Golly, I did not realize that Gemini. Oh no, actually, I take that back. I did know that Gemini is in one of the articles that I'm going to be running down with you here in a little bit. Nice haircut, Jeb. Did Sarah do it? She did do it, and normally I fix it a little bit, so if it's down right now, that's not Sarah's fault. We just got back from an appointment, so do apologize for that. Mike Lowry says, smash those likes. I totally agree. Totally agree. Last time I watched Jeb video, you were stepping back. What happened? So, essentially, like I told you guys, I decided to come back for a multitude of reasons that I'm going to keep to myself because I want to make sure that everybody's dignity and reputation is preserved and that I don't say anything ill or not nice or anything revealing about people. But the fact of the matter is I felt that I needed to come back to the company, and when I decided to come back to the company, I was basically given an ultimatum to give over 51% of the company or and never have access to the YouTube channel, bank accounts, control over the company, leadership, financials, anything like that, have absolutely no control, and come back as a researcher under the rest of the team. And I did not feel that was right because I did not feel that the company was being run to the vision that I had left it with. So I came back. I was not able to comply with that ultimatum, and many people in the company left. A lot of people that left the company did not have all of the information that some other people did. So I want to make sure that there's no hate and that there's no malice or ill will towards anybody that used to work for this team. But just so you know, it is myself, Sarah, and then Greg is working with us right now. And then Malachi, not my son Malachi, but our employee Malachi are working with us right now. We are a team of 4. We'll probably be expanding to a team of 5 or 6 here in the next couple of months. We're probably going to keep it pretty lean and focus really hard on content here in Club DeFi and the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel for a while. We have the funds. If we wanted to grow back up to a 10 or 12 person team, we could do that relatively quickly, but we want to keep the company very small and nimble so that we can bring you high quality educational informational content 365 days a year. Really looking forward to this next season. So excited. Just got off the phone with a mentor of mine. He was really excited to hear that I was back, and it was great catching up with him. So anyway, Crypto Mini Bike said, good afternoon, everyone. Again, this probably won't be the biggest stream ever, but I do appreciate everybody who has tuned in. Let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap because we need to make sure that we know what's going on in crypto, and then we have a bunch of different things to talk about. I'm going to try and run through all of the news as quickly as I possibly can, and as thoroughly as I possibly can, out of respect for your time, because I know we're running late on the show today. Right now, Bitcoin trading at $16,544, down 1.88% in the last 24 hours. We have, excuse me, I'm so sorry, Ethereum sitting at 1207, down 4% in the last 24 hours. Both of these cryptocurrencies being down 30 to 40% in the last 90 days. You can also see Tether and USDC, at the moment anyway, still pegged to $1, which is wonderful. We did have a little bit of a scare here on Tether. You can see about 6 days ago, it dropped down to 98.76 cents, 0.9876 cents. That was a little bit concerning because obviously nobody wants Tether to depeg. If Tether depegged, that would be even worse than Luna. Arguably, you could argue it wouldn't be, but arguably it'd be even worse than Luna. You can see FTT is currently sitting down to $1.58, down 18.21% over the last couple of weeks. Excuse me, that's the last 24 hours, but down 95% over the last several weeks ever since this FTX disaster started. And in case you don't know what happened at FTX, by now, I'll run it down very quickly. FTX had, and I'm going to try and pull up a chart here in a second, about $8.9 billion in liabilities and about $500 million in assets to cover those liabilities. They had several billion dollars in low liquidity assets and non-liquid assets, such as, equipment, furniture, stock investments, corporate investments, things of that like, but they did not have the liquidity to handle $5 billion in withdrawals, so that's why they canceled that. Let me actually see if I can go ahead and find this. I believe it was from Crypto Vet. I believe he tweeted out an infographic that would be pretty helpful here to discuss this. I believe it was Vet that did. If you guys don't follow Crypto Vet, you definitely should. He's got some great content over here. But he brought this graphic to light about the Sam Bankman-Fried balance sheet. It's really funny when Elon Musk took over Twitter and said Twitter is the most interesting place on the internet right now. He really wasn't kidding, because all of this stuff that we're looking at here is taking place, you guessed it, on Twitter. So let's see if I can't open this in a new tab and zoom in on this balance sheet right here. Visualizing FTX's leaked balance sheet. I'm going to run down this really thoroughly. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to read every single number here because this is a really important infographic to explain to you what happened on the doomed exchange FTX. And then we're going to talk about the other companies that may end up going the route of FTX, such as Gemini, BlockFi, and Genesis, $3 billion companies. By the way, I don't know if you remember, on Monday, I told you guys, mark my words, within the next 3 to 6 months, probably sooner than that, you will see at least one $1 billion in valuation company go bankrupt. Right now, it looks like we might have 3 on the chopping block within a week. So just keep that in mind. We want to make sure that we are watching out for these companies. Anyway, here's the balance sheet. Drum roll, please. Boom. Cryptocurrency exchange FTX has filed for bankruptcy as the exchange's finances have unraveled amidst a bank run. Just days before filing for bankruptcy, FTX's CEO Sam Bankman-Fried attempted to raise funds, sending out a rough balance sheet dated November 10th, 2022 of the company finances. What was the state of FTX's finances in its final moments? Liabilities, negative $8.9 billion. Liquid assets, $900 million. I think I said $500 million earlier. I do apologize. Luckily, we have the number right here. FTX had nearly $9 billion in liabilities, the majority of which were denominated in US dollars, while only having around $900 million in liquid assets. So pause. Time out. What does this mean? A liability is money that you owe. An asset is some kind of owned resource or commodity or stock or security or property that you can liquidate into a denominable currency, such as the United States dollar or Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is that you are trying to give to your creditors who you have who you owe money. So if we're looking at these liabilities here, what are they? Well, essentially you have liabilities in 2 forms when you're an exchange. Liability number 1 are the different companies that have invested in you. So you have Genesis over here. You can see that they were owed $200 million by FTX. I believe this was a credit line. For BlockFi's sake, it was a credit line. We'll get to that in a second. Notice BlockFi and Gemini, these 2 companies listed over here about how they have new restrictions and how they could go bankrupt. They were loaned a lot of money. I said Gemini, excuse me. Genesis and BlockFi, they were owed a lot of money, about $200 million by FTX. We'll get to the BlockFi part of this here in a little while, but let's go on to the second portion. The second way that an exchange has liabilities are the creditors, those being the different people that have deposited money onto an exchange. So for my sake, I was a creditor of BlockFi. I am currently a creditor of BlockFi to the tune of 1.79 Bitcoins, about $3,000 right now. It's not a huge portion of my portfolio, but it is money that I would like to have back. I don't like to just light money on fire, but that always goes back to that analogy of if you can't set it out in the backyard and set it on fire, then what are you doing investing it? Luckily, I can lose that money and we're totally fine. We're totally solvent. We don't need that money, but we would like that money back. So that's where the investing strategies and wisdom that you've garnered over the last 5 years of this channel come into play. And by the way, it's really funny. This is the first time in my 5 years of being here in cryptocurrency, which today is the 5th birthday of this channel, by the way. This is the first time in the history of Bitcoin and crypto that I've ever had anything like this happen to me. I'm finally part of it. I can finally relate to you guys who lost money in Celsius, 3AC, Voyager. It's not something I'm worried about, but it is a story that I want to let you guys know so you can learn from my mistakes, because I didn't have a reason to have that money on that exchange. I should have taken that money off of BlockFi. I should not have left it on there, but it was a small amount of our portfolio, so I didn't think anything of it. And look at me over here losing $3,000 being an idiot. So, not being an idiot, because I don't want you guys to think you're idiots, but either way, you get my point. Moving on here, like I said, the other kind of liability that an exchange can have are the creditors. So in the case of an exchange, that's anybody that has deposited money onto the exchange. So you can see there was $5.1 billion of deposits on the exchange, and this may also include other investments. There's $1.4 billion of Bitcoin on the exchange, $672 million worth of Ethereum, $115 million worth of euros. Layer Zero, another company, had a lot of money on the exchange. $800 million of US dollar Tether. Another $268 million going other places. BlockFi had a credit line out for $215 million. And we can actually go over to, I found this in office hours yesterday. If you go over to, what is it? It is BlockFi funding rounds. It says it right here. It's on Crunchbase. That's what I was looking for. Crunchbase details how BlockFi had raised. And if you don't know, BlockFi was a financial lending services platform here in the cryptocurrency industry. You can see that they had raised, should show it right here. I don't know if it's going to. Oh, it doesn't want to show it. It was here yesterday. I wonder if somebody's trying to cover their tracks. That's interesting. Debt financing right here. You can see FTX had given $400 million in debt to BlockFi that BlockFi was trying to save their company off of. BlockFi was already in a difficult financial position. FTX had given them a $400 million line of credit that BlockFi was living off of, and you can see from the document over here that CryptoVet posted. And actually, it wasn't him that created it. It was bar chart over here. But you can see that they had $215 million of that left. Amongst FTX's liabilities were $215 million marked from BlockFi, a crypto lending company. In June of 2022, FTX bailed out BlockFi with a $250 million revolving credit facility, which is funny that it says 250 because over here it says 400, but nevertheless, it was a lot of money. Reports suggest BlockFi user funds migrated to the FTX platform in return, which is sketchy in its own right, because you should not be using user funds for collateral. You should not be using user funds for collateral. Stop it! I didn't even mean to zoom in on his face, but that was comical, so thank you, Lord, for making that a joke. Anyway, the point is, they owed a lot of people a lot of money, and they didn't have the money to pay it back. We're going to go ahead and zoom out of this weirdo's face, and we're going to zoom in over here on this. FTX had nearly $9 billion in liabilities, the majority of which were denominated in USD, while only having around $900 million in liquid assets. Look at the disproportion here in their liquid assets. Again, if basically they had $900 million, if people tried to withdraw $1 billion, FTX didn't have it. Their pockets were empty. More than half of FTX's liquid assets were in Robinhood stock, which was the largest liquid asset on its balance sheet. What a dumb stock to have all your money in. Let's go ahead and look at Hood. Let's just go ahead and take a look at Robinhood over here. Why would you have all of your money in Robinhood? I don't get that. Why in the world would you have all of your money in Robinhood? It's not even a good investment. Like, I don't understand it. I really don't get it. They should have had, first of all, they should have had $12 billion in cash. Like, I'm talking cold, hard Benjamins. Like, maybe US dollars, euros, pounds, maybe some yen. They should have had a basket of dollars or stable coins, at least. Better yet, actual currency, not in a stable coin. They could have their reserves messed up in the same way FTX had. Instead, they had half of the liquid assets that they did have, which is way fewer than it should have been, in a stock like Robinhood. What? That is the pinnacle of stupidity in banking. And Sam Bankman-Fried, being a traditional, should have known better. Anyway, we're going to try and run through this graphic quicker. I'm taking a lot of time and getting a little heated. Understanding liquidity. Less liquid and illiquid assets are assets that can't all be easily sold at their current market price due to a lack of liquidity or buyers willing to buy the amount of assets at the current price. When one is forced to sell or liquidate large amounts of an illiquid asset at once, the asset's price is forced down in search of willing buyers at lower prices, resulting in the seller receiving less than they have expected, which basically means when we get to these other two categories, less liquid assets and illiquid assets, you start looking at things that they can't just liquidate and get $5 billion out of. They can't just go and sell this on the open market that well. FTT, they have $554 million in FTT. The reason that's a less liquid asset is that that's enough money to crash the price of FTT, considering at the time it was worth a lot more, but right now the total market capitalization is less than the amount that they had. Also, Maps over here, APT, locked USDT, SRM, Sol. They had $1 billion in Solana. You're wondering why Solana's dumping. You want to know why Solana's dumping? I'll tell you why Solana's dumping. They're trying to drop all of that Solana on the market so that they can make some money to give to the creditors. You look at the last 7 days, last month on Solana, it was trading at $36. Dropped all the way down to 13. Dropped all the way down in the 12.5 territory. They were trying to liquidate a lot of this Solana they had on the balance sheet. Don't be surprised when you see Solana having a hard time over the next little while, because one of their biggest backers, FTX, is belly up, and Solana's gone. And the Solana that they were holding is being liquidated. The majority of FTX's less liquid assets were cryptocurrencies directly tied to the exchange, FTT, along with one connected to FTX-backed Solana ecosystem. All of those you can see right here, a lot of them anyway, being on the Solana blockchain, which they crashed. The largest of FTX's less liquid assets was $2.2 billion of Serum tokens. For perspective, on November 1st, Serum had a market capitalization of around $280 million and a fully diluted valuation of $7.9 billion. And they had $2.2 billion. Absolutely absurd. Few of FTX's less liquid assets would have been able to be sold fully on the open market, and doing so would have caused significant drawdowns in the asset prices. You can see their illiquid assets. Many of FTX's illiquid assets were private equity investments, along with $43 million in Twitter shares and nearly $7.4 million in Trump Lose tokens. That's interesting. Don't know why they would be invested in that. But you can see these are their other investments right here. This is originally from Visual Capitalist, which does some great work. So, what do we do with this? Cry? What? This is not the kind of balance sheet that you should expect from an exchange, just so you know. This is not the way it's supposed to be. If you've got $10 billion in liabilities, you want to have, at bare minimum, $10 million in assets that can be liquidated instantaneously, so that you can cover if people want to withdraw from the platform. That's not the position FTX was in. Why? Well, because Sam Bankman-Fried drew $10 billion in user funds to Alameda Research, where his girlfriend then lost all of it, and Alameda Research is now going bankrupt also. And by the way, $1.7 billion of it disappeared. Wonder where that is. The Caymans of a Swiss bank account evading the IRS? I'd really love to know where that is, Sam Bankman-Fried. Where'd that money go? I'm sure the creditors of FTX, which is, by the way, ranking up to over 1 million, would love to have some of that money back so they can get some of their money back. By the way, there are different companies that will buy your rights to a bankrupt company's assets, pennies on the dollar. And right now, you can actually, there are places you can go and sell, and this just shows you how bleak the outlook is for anybody who had money on FTX. You can go and sell your rights to the assets that you had on FTX to a company that'll play the intermediary, and they'll give you 8 to 12 cents on the dollar. So if you had 100 grand, I think there's a $100,000 minimum for them to do this, actually. If you had $100,000, they'll give you between $8,000 and $12,000 for your rights to that, and then they will take the rights and go and pursue the bankruptcy, and then they might get 20 or 30 cents on the dollar. If you wait 3 or 5 years for everything to go through the courts, then you may get more of that money back. But if you had money on FTX, you're not in a very good position right now, and I'm very sorry to say that, but that is true. Anyway, let's go ahead and reach out here for a little bit. Your funds are Seifu, SBF. No, your funds are not Seifu on FTX. Very, very, very poor management. Very, very stupid what was going on. Happy anniversary, Jeb. You are the greatest. I don't know about that, but I do appreciate it. Cheers. Make sure you get your coffee for Coffee and Crypto Live. Have a whole lot more to go through over the next little while. Crypto Jeb, as much as you don't want to hear this, I think your best videos were before you had the team, before you cammed up with all you had in front of your chart. My advice is to go back to that. Yeah, we're going to keep things very simple for a very long time. If we do a lot of growth, it probably won't be with necessarily a bunch of new faces on the channel. It'll probably be a lot of growth on Club DeFi's front and a lot of growth in the way that we run the YouTube channel here and the community and everything. But it's probably mainly going to be me on the camera for a very long time. And if somebody else is on camera, it'll probably be my wife. But other than that, it's more than likely just going to be myself. Please always do the show at this time. Well, the viewership right now isn't a lot. It seems like a lot of people aren't able to make the show at this time. I'm thinking about doing another show, but I also don't want to overload myself. Probably not going to do a whole lot of new things until the new year. But once the new year comes, we're going to hit the ground running. Got a lot of initiatives I want to start. A lot of things I want to do. Probably bring on an editor, like I said. But right now, with all the health stuff that we're dealing with and the fact that Christmas is coming up and this is our first Christmas as a family, we want to put a lot of time into that. We're probably going to take things pretty simple and just make sure you guys are being given all the information that you need. Now, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, guys, because we got a lot to talk about. We need to talk about this for just a second. Not going to go into too much detail on what happened here because this was a big quagmire, if you will. Actually, I'm not even going to use the article. I'm just going to talk to you like this. Essentially, what happened yesterday, and this is horrible because it's so easy when you're reading the news to forget that there's actual human loss of life involved in a story like this. Yesterday, a missile or an anti-aircraft missile, if you will, a missile involved in anti-aircraft and anti-missile operations landed in a town about 3 miles over the border from Ukraine in Poland, and 2 people lost their life, which is 2 more than it should have been, and the whole war is way more than it should have been, and it's terrible, and we're praying for it to come to an end. But when that happened, there was a big scare last night that Russia had intentionally committed a first strike against Poland. Luckily, clear heads prevailed, level heads prevailed. NATO did not want to think that, Russia really intended to strike Poland because Poland is a member of NATO. If you don't know what NATO is, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, an attack on one is an attack on all. Biden has come out and said very clearly, we will defend every single inch of NATO with the full force of the United States military and the NATO militaries involved. All of them are supposed to have at least 2 to 3% GDP invested into their military. NATO is the largest, most powerful military force in the history of mankind. And it seemed like Russia had done a first strike on Poland. That did not, at least it does not seem that that's what happened. Poland invoked Article 4 of NATO, which allows for the convening of all NATO, which allows for the requested convention of all NATO nations to determine whether or not there was an actual incursion upon a NATO ally to see if an Article 5 response would be warranted. To my knowledge, the only time Article 5 response was ever warranted, was ever actually invoked with NATO was after the September 11th attacks. But there were concerns last night that that could happen, which would basically mean some kind of military response from NATO against Russia, which obviously would be terrible and could escalate into thermonuclear global war. Luckily, that did not happen. Russia denied any involvement in this, and it seems that they actually may have been telling the truth. There's been some more investigation. Poland's been on the ground looking at things, and it looks like, anyway, I don't know everything for sure, and there's obviously a lot of controversy around this. I'm just reporting what's being said. It looks like it was a missile that Russia fired that Ukraine shot down, and a piece of either Ukraine's anti-missile missile or Russia's missile overshot the target and landed in Poland in a small town there. And so it's terrible that 2 people passed away from that. It should never have happened. And Russia is at fault. It is their fault because they're the one that started this war. Ukraine is defending themselves. I'm very clear on that. As far as my stance of that, I think Putin is absolutely the belligerent here, and he's the one that needs to put down his arms. Nevertheless, seems to me that things are not going to escalate. But it is a real concern because if you do see Russia, if this happens again, or if Russia does intentionally strike a NATO ally, you can throw everything else we're talking about globally out the window, because if there's an armed response from NATO against Russia, things get very interesting. Like, I mean, I don't even know if I need to go there. I don't want to scare you guys, but the point is you don't want that to happen. Luckily, the story is calming down. It doesn't seem like tensions are escalating, but they're already too high, and we want them to calm down a little bit for sure. Anyway, moving on here, there's another thing I want to tell you about, and it's really just, I saw this earlier, and I'm like, what in the world am I looking at? I'm gonna try and be, as discreet and Christian about this as I possibly can be, but this is kind of a big story, and I kind of need to address this. Someone, and we still don't know who, posted this. SBF and Caroline Alameda, she was the CEO of Alameda, must be held accountable. 11/18/2022, their tape will be released on this uncensorable webpage. As an FTX insider who wishes to remain anonymous, it is only right to bring the truth to light. Videos from whatever that is will bring transparency and humility to this space. They will not wipe this website. They can't. The puff piece from NYT has to be balanced out. Please bring awareness to this upcoming leak. Please don't go watch that. I don't know why anybody would do that. Like, what? I understand that SBF really messed up criminally, like intentionally, as far as I'm concerned. $10 billion moving to Alameda. How are you possibly going to tell people that that was a mistake? How are you possibly going to tell some people that has to do with, there was a mislabeled bank account? No, it's criminal. It's fraud. And he belongs in jail. And Caroline Ellison very well may as well. I don't know. but I don't. And the New York Times piece, I don't have time to get into it. And also, the New York Times piece is behind the New York Times paywall, and I'm not giving the New York Times any money. But from what I could tell, it was a puff piece, and they were going way too easy on Sam Bankman-Fried, and they were trying to make him out like, oh, he just poor guy, you know, the exchange went down, he didn't know what to do. No, it was his fault. Period. Like it was his fault. He orchestrated back-end systems that allowed for that money to be moved without the other executives on the team knowing about it. It's not a private company. He did not own 100% of the company, and it was using user funds. He doesn't own a lawn care business where he's drawing money out of the LLC's account. He owns a 10, 20, 30 billion dollar exchange. It's criminal. Absolutely criminal. So I understand the New York Times went way too easy on him. Not really quite sure how that is going to how that's going to solve anything other than just making things a whole lot worse. So please do not look at that, but figured I'd share it with you, I guess. Anyway, Gemini, BlockFi, Genesis announcing new restrictions as FTX contagion spreads. This is what I was talking about. This is one of the things I really want to dig into today because, like I said, I had $3,000 on BlockFi, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be getting it back. Lesson well learned. I will definitely learn my lesson from that. But, you know, $3,000 over the course of 5 years, I've been very blessed compared to a lot of people that have lost money in the game here. Gemini, BlockFi, Genesis announcing new restrictions as FTX contagion spreads. The lending arm of crypto investment bank Genesis Global Trading is pausing new originations and redemptions. The decision reflects a sign of contagion outside of BlockFi, which is reportedly preparing for a potential bankruptcy filing, according to the Wall Street Journal. WSJ posted an article on that yesterday. In the latest fallout from FTX's rapid collapse last week, the lending arm of crypto investment bank Genesis Global Trading is pausing new loan originations and redemptions. If you'll remember from our infographic over here, they were owed $200 million by FTX. So you can see how all of this comes together. Like I said the other day, this is a very small, tight-knit space. When something happens to one, it normally affects a lot of the rest. We recognize how challenging this past week has been due to the impact of the FTX news. At Genesis, we are entirely focused on doing everything we can to serve our clients and navigate this difficult market environment, Genesis wrote in a tweet. Our number one priority is to serve our customers and preserve their assets. Well, if you're preserving your assets, then you shouldn't have to worry about this because those assets should be backed one-to-one. It's really funny. Ton of exchanges right now coming out and saying, our assets are backed one-to-one. I'll believe it when I see the balance sheet. I, as an influencer in the space, with somebody with some clout and with some weight behind his name and with some following, I demand that these exchanges post their balance sheet. It is the right of the customers to at least know that they have one-to-one backing. There needs to be proof of reserves, it needs to be independently audited, and it needs to be totally public. Available at any time on a public webpage where you don't even have to ask for it and where it cannot be restricted. And it needs to be independently audited by an outside agency, and they need to be held accountable by the community. That's for every single exchange, every single company that holds customer assets and customer funds. That needs to be in place. Absolutely needs to be in place. Moving on here. We're working with the Genesis team to help customers redeem their funds from the Earn program as quickly as possible. We will provide more information in the coming days. And by the way, let me just back up. The reason I'm saying that is because fractional reserve banking should be criminal in this space. We cannot build exchanges and lending services on the back of fractional reserve lending. That's the problem that's one of the big problems with the banking system is you deposit 100 grand, they keep 8 grand, and they loan out the other 92. I realize that the way the banks make their money and provide basically a free service of holding onto your money custodially is by loaning out your money. We don't need to build a system in that manner because you have what happened in 1929 happen right now. We're seeing runs on the banks. When Luna goes down, that should not cause all these other companies and exchanges to go down. If a company's going to have a liquidation price, it darn well better be way below what all the technical analysts are predicting could happen. If a company is going to have a liquidation price where they go illiquid and insolvent, it had better be when Bitcoin drops down to like $3,000. And they cannot have one company propping them up. It's just not good business. And they're learning the hard way by getting knocked out of the game. And hopefully the survivors will learn their lesson too. At around noon Eastern, reports surfaced that Gemini services were offline. The company said it experienced an AWS outing on one of its primary databases and it was working to bring the exchange back up. Genesis Trading, which acts as Genesis Global's capital broker-dealer, is independently capitalized and operates separately from that lending unit. Interim CEO Dirar Islam told customers on a call Wednesday, according to CoinDesk. Moving on down here, guys, I just want you to know this. There is a major mix-up at BlockFi going on because they had some capital investment coming in from FTX, which now they can't get access to because FTX is bankrupt. And So you're seeing the same thing happen on Gemini and Genesis. Let me see if I can find a different article on Gemini so that I can give you more detail on that. Yeah, here's an article from Bloomberg. Let's see what they have over here. Gemini Trust Co. Well, Bloomberg's going to make me pay for the articles. I'm not giving any of you guys my money. I don't like paying these people for that. I don't have any problem with paying for services. I certainly don't have any problem with paying for Twitter, but for a lot of these different things like Bloomberg, and I don't know. I have a very difficult time giving them money. But anyway, the point is Gemini looks like it may be going insolvent as well because they have paused withdrawals on their lending program. It's really very sad, and it's really very discouraging. But ultimately, the very best thing that we can do in cryptocurrency is to keep our keys on our private wallets. And if you are not already in a position where you are holding your keys yourself, you should be. And the reason is so very simple. You can lose it all if your money's on an exchange. And we don't have the FDIC backing up all of these crypto exchanges where if this exchange goes bankrupt, they will bail you out up to $250,000. That doesn't exist in crypto. It'd be lovely if something like that did exist, not funded by the government, but funded by voluntary donors into that system. That doesn't exist right now, though. It doesn't, and it's not there. And the people that lost money on FTX have lost that money for good, and that is very, very sad. I do trust Coinbase right now. I do think Coinbase is okay. I do trust Binance right now. I think Binance is okay. But by the way, what I said about them having proof of reserves, they need to be compliant to that as well. And we as a community, myself as a Coinbase user, demand that there are proof of reserves. We need to know. The game of asking whether or not Tether has its reserves is up. Over. It's done. Full stop. We should have learned our lesson from Celsius. We should have learned our lesson from 3AC. We should have learned our lesson from Voyager. How many times are we going to have to learn this lesson? How many? We learned our lesson from BitConnect. We've got all these staking platforms and everything, but those are genuine services. We learned our lesson from BitConnect on earning 1.15% a day from a trading bot. We learned our lesson. Okay, great. The industry learned. Are we going to learn our lesson on exchanges having their balance sheets public? Or not? The question's out there. What do we do with it? I'd love to hear your opinions on it, but we need to keep asking and requesting and demanding as long as it takes. If we're going to, maybe demanding isn't the right word. If we're going to continue using these platforms, we need to make sure that they have their proof of reserves. And it's going to take time. I understand that giving out a balance sheet worth $10 billion to the public is something that takes time insofar as compliance, PR. You want to make sure that all those things are squeaky clean before you put it out. I understand it could take between 3 and 6 months for a company to get that kind of information public, especially if they're a really large business and they're publicly traded like Coinbase. I get it. There's some grace, but it needs to be happening. Getting an email and a tweet that says, all our funds are backed 1-to-1. It's not good enough. How are the funds backed 1-to-1? Is 90% of that 1-to-1 backing an FTX investment or FTT token? Well, then I don't care that they're backed 1-to-1. It's backed 1-to-1 in a dumb way. It needs to be open to the public. And I realize it'll bring more scrutiny and more controversy to these exchanges, but it needs to take place. It needs to happen. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at chat. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. And like I said, today is the 5th birthday of the CryptoJeb YouTube channel. I just want to show you the first video that ever went up on this channel, if I can get it up here, because I actually need to go back and post a comment on it. Gosh, I'm gonna have to find it. The thing is, YouTube used to have this button where you could go back and you could search from the oldest videos to the newest, and they removed it. So I've got to go in here and find that video, because every year on November 16th I go back to the first video that I ever published, and then I go and I post a comment on it saying like 5 years down, one year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years down. But yeah, I'll have to find it. Anyway, the channel is now 5 years old. The first video on the channel here went up on November 16th, 2017, and it has been a wild ride. It has been an absolutely wild ride, and I really, really appreciate all of you guys who have been a member and a viewer and a sponsor of this channel over the last several years. I can't find the video, but the fact of the matter is, it's been absolutely incredible. When I started this channel, I just turned 17. I got into crypto when I was 16 years old. It was the summer of 11th grade. I was about to go into 12th grade. I was dual enrolling at Santa Fe. And I remember telling you guys, does young Jeb sound like old Jeb on helium? A little bit. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I I remember starting the channel. I had this dream. I didn't grow up with a lot. And I had this dream that I wanted to get out of the situation I was while I was growing up. I wanted to help my dad, and I wanted to make something for myself. I had a drive and a hunger, and I started this channel. And I was working at the bookstore at Barnes and Noble in Santa Fe campus, and I was making $8.25 an hour. This was back before minimum wage. Minimum wage is like $11 an hour right now in Florida. I was making $8.25, and I remember I got my first paycheck. It was $60, and yeah, it was a wild time. And I remember thinking, you know, if I can just make a video every single day, I see that there's so many people. Who cares, Jeff? Just tell everybody to get their money off price. Yeah, no, get your money off. That's my point. Get your money off exchange. If I have not made that clear, hopefully it's clear now. Take your money off of exchange, but while you're using the exchange, because there is a good reason to use exchanges, make sure that you are petitioning for them to be transparent. Nevertheless, started the YouTube channel, decided to make a video every single day, and we've just taken off since then. And it's really amazing because I remember I had this dream that I wanted to help my dad, I wanted to help my family, and I wanted to make something for myself, and I wanted to help the community. And I knew if I taught you guys about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, then I could help my dad, I could help my family, I could help my friends, I could help you guys, I could help myself, and I could make something of myself and something for this channel. And it was really amazing. It was really amazing. And so we made 2,400 videos ever since then. I made a video every single day, almost every single day for 3.5 years. I mean, I made a video 7 days a week, and there were times where I'd go 8-9 months without missing a single day. You know, I'd miss a day every once in a while because I was like deathly ill or I was traveling or something like that. But I made a video almost every single day. It took me 8 months to get monetized on YouTube. Had 8,500 subscribers before the channel finally got monetized. And so after that, we launched CT2A. It was life-changing. The revenue that brought in changed my life entirely. I was able to change a lot of people's lives, and here we are 5 years later. It's been 5 years, and I'm so excited. I've met so many cool people. I just love all the people I've met in the industry. They're wonderful. There's a lot of great people in the industry that really want to drive the space forward and help a lot of people. And I'm just very, very excited for where everything is going. I'm looking forward to, with the new year coming up, setting some new goals, setting some vision, and just taking us into the next season, guys. I'm so very excited, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So thank you guys so very much for 5 years. I really do wish that I was able to do something more special for the 5-year birthday of the channel. That's a big deal in the industry. There's not a lot of YouTubers that are active right now that have been in the game for 5 years, that have had their channels for 5 years. Data Dash is one of them. He's been here for over 5 years. I don't think BitBoy Crypto was around when I started. I think his first video, Ben, he's a good friend of mine now, but I think Ben's first video went out in February of 2018. So I have been around longer than Ben. I've been around longer than Carl from the Moon. I remember when he started, and I'm personal friends with both of these men. Carl, his first video went out December 1st, 2017. He was 2 weeks after me. Data Dash, I think his channel's been out for a long time. There's a lot of other YouTubers that were in the game back then that are not now. One of them went bankrupt because he got sued. Data Dash got in July 10th, 2017. That was his first video, which is nuts because I got into crypto July 31st, 2017, and I was watching his content, and he had like 200,000 subscribers during the bull run of 2017. By the way, speaking of Data Dash, Nicholas Merton, I am finally, after 5 years, getting an interview with one of my inspirations this coming Monday. So we had to reschedule for some reasons, but really excited for that. People talking about Exodus. I have used Exodus pretty much since day one. Wonderful, not exchange, wallet. It served me very, very well. I've never had a problem with it. It is a hot wallet, but for what it is a great wallet. It does what it's trying to do very, very well. I'm still keeping some funds on Crow. I still believe in them. But why keep your money on an exchange? Like, that's my question. What's the point of keeping money on exchange? I have some money on some exchanges I need to move out. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite in that. But it's just because I haven't gotten a chance to. And it was small amounts of money like the $3,000 that was in BlockFi. Probably sounds weird me saying a small amount of money, but anyway, you get my point. So let's go ahead here and take a look at the chart. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in, and I definitely don't want to take that for granted. So let's go ahead and take a look over here at Bitcoin. As you guys know, Bitcoin has been moving exceptionally after this FTX hack has taken place and the FTX bankruptcy has taken place. And right now, Bitcoin is very deep into a symmetrical triangle pattern. And this symmetrical triangle pattern is very, very critical because if Bitcoin is not able to maintain inside of the symmetrical triangle pattern and does break out of it, then we're very likely going to go far, 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 far to the downside, and you're going to see Bitcoin drop all the way down here to probably $13,800, and you're going to see a major drop on the cryptocurrency market. So that's one of the first things that I want to let you guys know about, is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now are in a very, very precarious situation as far as the price of those assets are concerned. Because if we do not see Bitcoin manage to maintain itself above the levels that it is at right now, around $16,500, it's going to have a very hard time getting back to the upside and managing to go managing to remain above those levels. And if you do see cryptocurrency and Bitcoin dropping below some of its major levels of support right now, you're going to run into another conundrum, and that is the fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency back up a lot of these exchanges and make up their reserves. A lot of these exchanges and lenders have their money in reserves in crypto, not in dollars, not in stable coins. They have them in fluctuating cryptocurrency markets. The reason that that's a concern is because if one of those exchanges or lenders has all of their money in that and the price goes down, then you run into an issue of, well, they don't have money to be liquid. And then you face bankruptcy. So that's a problem. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. But before we do, I do want to just give a shout out to one of our sponsors, and they are none other than Anthony Price. If you guys don't know who Anthony Price is a CPA who is going to help you to make sure that you are paying as little money in taxes legally as possible. Guys, tax evasion is a crime, so I don't recommend you try it, because if the IRS finds out, they're going to come after you. But you can legally pay next to nothing in taxes if you know how to use the system. And one of the best ways to use the system is by hiring a professional that understands the system. Anthony Price is going to help you to pay the least amount in taxes as possible, while also helping to make sure that you are fully compliant with the law. So make sure to check out Anthony Price. The link is in the description box down below. You can check him out. Price CPA. Boom. Thank you very much to Anthony Price. I'm going to read chat here for a little bit, and then we're going to jump back onto the chart. Somebody said, what is it, Jeb's B-Day again? Yeah, I mean, there's a few different birthdays. August 12th is the birthday of the company McAfee Media that was founded over 3 years ago now. That's the company that holds the YouTube channel and Club DeFi. Then there's my birthday, which is in August. I'm going to leave my birthday out of it, but my birthday is also in August. And then there's the birthday of the channel, which is November 16th. So really do appreciate everybody who's been around for those 5 years. Absolutely crazy. I just initiated my final withdrawal from their platform. Boom. Dean Emery said, Jeb, best crypto YouTuber. I don't know about best, but I really appreciate that. Gemini Earn is in trouble. I don't think the exchange is yet. Yeah, that's the question, though. If the Earn part of Gemini is in trouble, where's the exchange? Because if Earn is in trouble, then that probably means that their parent, which is Gemini the exchange, can't afford to bail them out. You see? Does that make sense? I figure it does. Question about synthetic coins being traded. How do you know if you have real BTC or synthetic? I don't know exactly what you mean by synthetic, but the simple fact of the matter is, if you have money on exchange, you are trading IOUs. You're not trading physically backed Bitcoin. If you deposit one Bitcoin on exchange, they take that Bitcoin and do something with it, because it's fractional banking. That's not the way it should be, but that's the way it is. They ought to hold one-to-one every single cryptocurrency that's deposited on the platform, and then use their fees from those deposits to go and do their business practices of lending and investing in different projects. That would make for a much less profitable business, because then you have to lock up all those funds. It's the way it ought to be. There should at least be 75% backing on those cryptocurrencies, but there's not always, and that's sorry. That is sorry. That's sad, is what that is. Connect Lightning Network to your wallets, not exchanges. The point of cryptocurrency, if you own your key, you only need to trust yourself to make your finances, and you don't need to trust anyone else. No, that is very, very true. That is very, very true. You just said you lost money on BFI. On BlockFi, yeah, like I said, I have a 0.179 Bitcoin over on BlockFi. Hoping to get it back. Hopefully BlockFi doesn't go bankrupt, but I'm not exactly counting on it. Do you use Coinbase Pro or the regular one? I use Coinbase and Coinbase Pro. I'm primarily using just Coinbase right now, though. I move all my BTC on November 10th, and it arrived November 11th. Move my link on November 12th, and it's still pending. Wow. That's interesting, because it doesn't take that long to send transactions on Link. Justin Eubank said, happy day, Crypto Jeb. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. I'm 5 hours late, so don't worry about it. I have a good excuse, though. We were at the cardiologist. Really funny. We were the only person anywhere near. We were the only couple anywhere near that age there. People were like, what are you doing here? You're 22. And we're like, yeah, we know, but there's this thing. They were like, really? But you're 22. Everybody's so skeptical of you if you're under 50 at the cardiologist. So it feels old. Like I might have a blood sugar problem, and my wife's at the cardiologist. We're both like, hey, Sonny, we're getting old. Where are our grandchildren? And we have a 2-year-old. That's the stage of life that we're at. Would you buy one BTC now or buy $16,500 worth of mining equipment in solo? Depends on the deal you're getting on the mining equipment and the deal you're getting on energy. If you're getting your it depends on the cost of the energy and the mining equipment. If you get mining equipment from one of these bankrupt miners at half the price, that might not be a bad idea. But and you need to make sure it's in good condition. I'm not a miner. I personally don't want to jump into that space. I've never been a miner. I did do cloud mining when I first got into the space. Wouldn't recommend doing that, but I did because it's a really simple way of investment. But you should probably focus on doing it a little bit differently. Anyway, the point is, I would personally just put the money into crypto. I wouldn't personally do mining equipment. But if you're a miner and you can get a good deal on it, it might not be a bad idea. Yeah, tell me about being 30 years old and in the cardio department is just seen as weird. I know, yeah. Let's see. Bad time to lock up funds, too risky. Yeah, I would agree. Well, guys, let's go ahead and take a look here at a couple of other things in crypto. I just want you guys to know what the patterns are in Bitcoin right now that you need to be looking out for. Bitcoin, like I said, is currently sitting in this symmetrical triangle pattern. The symmetrical triangle pattern is very critical because if Bitcoin is not able to hold the symmetrical triangle pattern, or if it starts to fall out of the symmetrical triangle pattern, then you're likely going to see a drop down to $13,800. Even if we look at things like Lux Algo here, which, by the way, guys, if you're not getting Lux Algo, you need to be a part of Lux Algo. It's absolutely incredible. We're currently under a confirmed sell signal with a take profit down between 15.6 and 16.1. You can also see if we bring up Lux Oscillator here. Let me go ahead and grab Lux Premium Oscillators. You can see Lux Oscillator is red. It's about to turn green, but it's sitting way down here in the oversold territory. You can also see that we just fell down into this territory right above the reversal zone. Another thing to keep in mind is not Lux Algo related, but it is still important, is that we did see a decent bounce here, but we're also under a kind of a downtrending movement right here. So not too happy with the way Bitcoin's looking right now. I'm not seeing any kind of exuberance. I see a lot of FUD. If we do see a positive, excuse me, if we do see a positive development come out from the Federal Reserve on December 14th, their next meeting, then that would be a good development, but we shall have to see if that is going to happen or not. By the way, guys, one place that I do want to mention to you guys is a place called iTrust Capital. If you are not familiar with iTrust Capital, this is a company that helps you to invest in the cryptocurrency space using your IRA, your retirement accounts. If you guys are invested in crypto and you are investing in crypto through IRAs, then you want to make sure that you are using iTrust Capital because they are the one-stop shop to make sure that you are investing in cryptocurrency using your retirement accounts. So make sure to check them out with the link in the description box down below. Boom sauce. Let's go ahead and keep reading chat here, guys. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Like I said, today is going to be a little bit of a slower, more simple stream. I really appreciate everybody who has tuned in. If BlockFi filed for bankruptcy, do I need to pay my BlockFi credit card? Lol. That's a good question. You probably would get a letter, but who knows if it'd get followed up on. Are you paying attention to nutrition and fitness? Considering it. Not as much as I should. We're going to be trying to get back in the gym relatively soon because it would actually help my wife. Like I said, her resting heart rate right now is like 90, which is not normal. She used to be a runner and her resting heart rate was 54. So it's almost doubled. You think your crypto is safe on Robinhood? Well, until recently, it wasn't actually even... You couldn't even withdraw it, could you? I've never used Robinhood for crypto. I personally wouldn't. $13.5 to $13.8 seems fair if it drops. I agree. I think that's where it's going to be. I had heart surgery at 31, so I know how you guys felt. Everyone looks at you cross-eyed, like with... There is one more story that I want to bring you guys today, and it would have to do with the crazy founder of SpaceX and Tesla. He's not actually the founder, but as far as it's founder of SpaceX, but a lot of people give me flack when I say he's the founder of Tesla. I know he's not, but nevertheless, I ruined the joke. CEO SpaceX, and Tesla, and now Twitter. Musk issues ultimatum to staff. This dude is hardcore. Commit to hardcore Twitter or take severance. It comes as Musk's first major feature. Twitter Blue Verify was halted while the company probes issues that arose from its launch. Get a load of this. Elon Musk issued an ultimatum to Twitter employees Wednesday morning. Commit to a new hardcore Twitter or leave the company with severance pay, 3-month severance. Twitter is shifting to an engineering-driven operation, one that will need to be extremely hardcore going forward, according to the midnight email, which was obtained by the Washington Post. Emails were asked to click an icon and respond by Thursday if they wanted to stay. This will mean working long hours at high intensity, he said. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. By mid-Wednesday, members of Twitter's trust and safety team, who are responsible for keeping hate speech and misinformation off the site, were discussing a mass resignation, according to 3 current employees who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution. The email came just hours after Musk tweeted he was tabling Twitter's Blue Verified, his first major product since taking over last month as the CEO. So this is crazy because he's cut the staff by nearly 75%. He wasn't joking. He cut the employees by 75%. He laid off like 80% of the contractors. So he's actually already kind of at 75%. And then it doesn't go into it as much detail as I would like here, but it does say anyone who did not sign the pledge by 5 p.m. Eastern Time Thursday would receive 3-month severance pay, the message said. So this dude's nuts as far as he has every right to do this. He owns the company now, but click a button saying you're in or you're fired and you have a day. That's a heck of an ultimatum. Him as the owner, he has the right to give that ultimatum. He does. But his employees, a lot of them also have the right to walk away, and he will probably lose. The workforce is down to 3,700 employees right now. He'll probably end up firing another 1,800 of them that don't click that yes button, or click the yes button and then are found out to not be following through with the yes button relatively soon. So, I mean, golly, it's nuts over there. But I really think, and Elon Musk talked about this, I really think that Elon Musk has an opportunity to turn Twitter into a juggernaut of industry. And I do think that he can do what he wants to do with Twitter and make it work, especially considering the site is still running and there are some things that broke, and I know people couldn't log in. I know about that stuff. But the site is, for the most part, still working despite all of that. And the payroll at Twitter, golly, must be way lower right now. They got rid of almost all their contractors, laid off half their staff. Twitter must have just saved like $2 billion in annual revenue, in annual expenses. Probably more, to be honest with you. I don't remember how Twitter's payroll costs last year. Let's see how much they were paying in payroll. Stock-based compensation cut costs by $1 billion. Yeah, so it's looking like $1 to $2 billion a year worth of payroll is going to be gone, which is a lot of money. If you look at Twitter, at Elon Musk's Twitter, he even had this to say, and this is pretty cool here. Check this out. He posted a tweet over here. He brought back Ligma and Johnson. He hired them back. If you remember this, Ligma and Johnson left, and yeah, he said it. And important to admit when I'm wrong, and firing them was truly one of my biggest mistakes. Twitter is all the news, by the people, for the people. Daily active users, recent trends promising. He took over right around here. Boom, through the roof. Everybody is jumping back on Twitter. Now, this is not a huge trend. I mean, this is 3 million people. But that's 3 million people, guys. That's a lot of people that have come back to the platform. So, very interesting what's going on there. Definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with Twitter in the coming months. Let's see here. Trust Wallet. Yeah, I haven't used Trust Wallet, but I've heard very good things about them. Everybody get a wallet? Yes, everybody get a wallet. Hi, Jeb. I hope you feel better soon. Just a random question. I've been getting a few Instagram friend requests by someone posing as you, I guess. Can you please confirm your Instagram account? Thanks. Yes, our Instagram account, I think, should actually... I don't think it is yet, but it should actually be verified relatively soon. It is _coffee_and_crypto_ right now. Because when we changed the name, we did not secure the @CryptoJeb handle. So somebody has the @CryptoJeb handle on Instagram. If you know who that is, please beg them to stop scamming with that and hand it back over. We're going to try and get verified over there, but that's not a guarantee that that's going to be able to happen. Guys, before we wrap it up, I do just want to give you a little bit of an update over here. Make sure to check out bitget.com. They've got some really great copy trading functionality over here. Guys, I know, be very careful with exchanges right now. I'm not saying put a ton of money here, but definitely check out and see if you're interested in their copy trading platform over here. You can make a lot of money following along with these other traders that are making a lot of money right now, making a ton of money over on BitGet. So make sure to check out BitGet with the link in the description box down below. We're going to go ahead and read chat here for a couple of minutes before we wrap it out. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We should be live at the regularly scheduled time tomorrow. I'll keep Crow as an exchange. Just took out half for the hardware wallet. Yeah, a lot of people are leaving their exchanges right now and asking for withdrawals. There's a bank run going on. I mean, this is the biggest bank run that we've probably seen in a century globally. It's very, very important. What's the best wallet for VeChain? I don't personally invest in VeChain, so I couldn't tell you. But, yeah, let's see if we have any other questions. By the way, guys, make sure to hit that like button. We got 500 people watching. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Make sure to hit the like button. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Bear pennant breaking down, I would guess. Yes, that is that's my prediction as well. Happy birthday, Jeb. I do watch the Dash. Data Dash has a great thing going on. Hi. One of my cousins just, excuse me, not cousin. One of my nephews just walked up in the window right here. I think that was Adriel. If you saw me do that. He walked up and he looked through the window at me. I'm like, hi. Oh, man. Everyone remove your money from a crypto, and crypto from an exchange. You may pay a higher fee on a hardware wallet, but you won't get robbed. People need to understand. It's true, guys. Not your keys, not your coin. Glad to see your face and hear your voice. Thank you guys so much. Well, guys, I am going to have to go. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Do apologize if the stream was late today. We'll be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow, unless something crazy happens. But hopefully I'll be feeling better. Please be praying for me to feel better. It's really discouraging not being able to go live at the proper time and not be able to be in studio. I want to be in studio, but we just have been so sick. So, anyway, really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.